Hey everyone, and welcome to 30 beginner blues guitar riffs. The idea with this lesson is to kind of show you some really approachable ideas that they're commonly used, but I want them to be useful as well. So the idea will be not to just have 30 riffs that are fun to play but you can't really use them anywhere. The idea is to take the form of a 12-bar blues. So if you're not familiar with a 12-bar blues, you will be very soon because we'll do it a lot. There's going to be a lot of paperwork added to this as well with the tabs to really show you how the form works with it. But the basic thing will be that we've got 30 licks. We have 3 chords in a blues, a 12-bar blues. In this E blues, we're going to have the chord of E7, A7 and B7. And the riffs that I've written down for you and will show you have got basically 10 of each. So the idea is that you can kind of chop and change them. You'll notice in the video after this one, we've actually got a little breakdown that shows you how I've cherry-picked a few different riffs from the 30 and just put them into my own 12-bar blues and how that can create something really fresh and really different. So when we do them, they will be numbered 1 to 30, but next to each number there'll be a chord name that you can kind of associate with where that chord happens within the song as well. Okay, so if you move on to the next video, it will kind of I'll sort of talk you through it so that you can kind of see how this works within picking them and sort of put them with the 12-bar blues as well. But the way that the blues will work with this is that from number 1, we're starting very simple, so very accessible. If you've never played before, I guarantee you'll be able to play most of these up to, when we get into the 20s up to 30, you'll notice they're going to get a little bit more challenging, but hopefully what you've learned through the first 20 will have kind of got your playing up to a certain standard where you feel that you can actually approach playing these next sections. So it should feel challenging as you progress through, but the idea is that eventually you can play this all as one piece, but also take from it what you need so you can become your very own blues player and play any which way you like. Now what you're going to hear next is just me playing a very short 12-bar blues, so it's only one cycle, and I've chosen one riff for my E chord, and then I've chosen one riff for my A, and then one riff for the B, which creates the rundown. So my choices that I've used are number 7, number 14, and number 21. And the idea with that one is that they're quite far apart. I've not written them so that they flow like the track does, but you should notice that they sound really cool, they work, they sound bluesy, and it kind of hopefully gives you the inspiration to kind of think, well, I could do this with any of those, so let me start chopping and changing them. All you're going to have in your head or in front of you is a printout of the 12-bar blues, so you can see the chords, and then each lick on the tab you'll notice is labelled not just number 1 to 30, but we've got that chord written next to it as well, and that's going to give you the association so you can just try them out and see what you like the sound of. So have a listen to what comes next, and I hope to see what you come up with yourself. Okay, so our first riff that we get is going to be labelled with the chord E. So anytime you get an E chord within a progression, you could use this. Commonly this will be used as the starting point of a blues. So we're going to start with an E power chord, which is going to be found on the 6th and the 5th string, and we're going to play open on the 6th string and 2nd fret on the 5th, and we're just going to play them together as a chord. Now you notice I'm not going to hit through all the strings, so just a small little movement. And then next, we're going to go to an A power chord, or an A5 chord, and that's going to move just down. So you're just going to move that finger down to the 4th string, and now we're going to play it on the 5th string, which is open. So I'm leaving the 6th string, so we're not going to use that anymore. So those two together, you can hear it just moving along. And both of those are being hit with a downstroke, because we want that kind of energy. After that, we're going to go to just a single note, which is a note from a scale, the E blues scale. We're going to hit the 3rd fret of the E string, which is the 6th string. And you can give that a tiny little pull, which will give it a quarter note bend. And then we're going to go back to the E power chord, E5 at the start. So. Okay, number 2, we're going to label this with the A chord. So this will be anytime you see the A chord in the progression. This is probably the bread and butter riff that everyone learns, and they learn variations of it as well. This is the most basic one. So important part with this, we're just going to use a palm mute. So we're going to place the palm of our hand, so just this side part of the hand, onto the bridge where the strings meet. And you'll notice that the sound has got very dull. Normally it sounds like that, and we're just going to dull the sound. If you find you're not getting the pitch correctly, you might be a bit too far on the string and you get a very dull sound. So just bring your hand back a tiny bit. So we're going to borrow the first part of the chord that we used in the first riff, which is the A power chord, A5, which is the 5th string open and 2nd fret on the 4th string. And we're going to hit that twice. And then we're going to move with our 3rd finger, we're going to play the 4th fret of the 4th string. So 2 on the 4th string and then 4 on the 4th string. Now, much like we did on the first riff, you can move this depending on the string. So whatever the open string is that you're playing, that is the chord that you're playing. So if you wanted to play this as an E instead, you could move it up and the 6th string would be open. And you can see how we're kind of moving that between the different chord sounds, but the riff stays the same. So that's a really useful one to use. Just be aware with that one that you are palm muting because it gives it a nice driving quality. When you don't palm mute, you'll notice it's a bit loose. One final thing with that one to make sure that you count is just try and count along with the sound of 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. So use the letter A, in between the numbers, and it will make it swing more. So you don't want to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which is a bit more rocky. So you're 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And you get that good swing.